And then from the corporate world to coffeehouse, meet the owner of Las Perras Cafe. Her brew for creating an inclusive neighborhood spot for everyone coming up. Don't go anywhere. Houston Life will be right back. Welcome back to Houston Life. Hispanic Heritage Month kicked off earlier this week, and today we're spotlighting a Latina-owned cafe that serves more than coffee.
Yeah, Las Perras Cafe opened in April in the historic 2nd Ward, and producer Sabiha Mahmood is chatting with the owner about what inspired her to create an inclusive space to help empower diverse voices in our community.
I've always been somebody who's been outspoken, and sometimes it doesn't always lend to like the corporate setting. And so I think working in that environment for so long and just feeling misaligned and misunderstood has really allowed me to like be my full authentic self. And now that I'm opening my own organization, I want to do things a little bit differently. The name of the shop, Las Perras, it can be seen as a derogatory word, but it can also be seen as like something you would call like a resilient woman. I want people to understand with my marketing and my branding that this is a cafe that actually cares about activism. The first iteration of our brand is by making cold brew lattes with activists as the name of the drink. Dolores Huerta, Angela Davis, a local person of the Houston community, Alice Valdez. She's the founder of Mecca here in Houston. So my graphic designer and I would pick an activist, we would pick the color palette, and we would make a very beautiful piece of artwork to put on the front label. And I formatted all the recipes one by one with like a little tiny scale, and I would just keep pouring until I found the right combination. And I started selling them at markets, started selling them to my friends. I would do home deliveries here in this neighborhood, and I started doing more catering events. And so, you know, word of mouth obviously played a big role in that, doing a lot of pop-up markets, farmers markets. And then slowly over time, I started looking for a space. Everything was very much a community effort. So that's another reason why we're not like any other coffee shop. We've grown our base so much in the last 3 years that people would literally come and help me. I would post on my Instagram and like 4 people would come and help me, like stand tables. It was very much not done because we had a big budget. It was done because we had our community behind us.
So you're also community minded.
Yes.
Is that the reason why you decided to open up this cafe in the 2nd Ward?
The way that I see cafes and like the history of cafes, they've always been a place of like activism and resistance. That's where the foundation of cafes came from, internationally speaking. And so for me, I've been able to kind of meet different organizations, and then we would host an event that would support a specific organization, and then my community support other communities, and we hope to continue to do that and continue to grow. As we've evolved, we've also done more like collaborations. For instance, we made 2 specialty drinks for Live Nation for Daniel Me Estás Matando and Caloncho, which are 2 Latin artists. So we have a great relationship with Latino Live Nation. You know, we've also hosted like album release parties for local musicians, and people see the beautiful photos of the space. They recognize the artists or the organizations. The mural behind me is actually Raquel Trejo. She's a local artist here in the East End. She was featured at MFAH's Myths and Legends of Mexico. And so basically I commissioned her to repurpose this light installation behind me.
This is a really nice and spacious place.
Yeah.
But you also share the space with
Flor y Miel. So Flor y Miel is a Latin Caribbean concept. Flo and Milagros are a mom and a daughter duo. They're from New York, and they moved down here a couple of years ago with their food truck. And we actually met doing pop-ups as well. That's the cool part about how big the space is that there's so many different things that we can do and so many different people from the community we can invite. It gives them a platform and it brings new people to the space for us.
What made you go into hospitality?
So when I was in high school, I was in a culinary arts program, and I just fell in love with it. I loved the idea of like making food from other cultures. I went to high school in Japan, by the way. I was a military brat. On my mom's side, I'm Chicana. On my dad's side, I'm first generation. My dad's from Juarez. My mom is from El Paso, Texas. Most of my friends were Asian, Dominican, Puerto Rican, Japanese, Filipino. Those were like the people that I grew up with. So like learning about their food was something that I really enjoyed. But the most important and valuable part of this for me is like the human interaction of it all. I think that's another reason why when I moved to Houston and I was like, oh, like I'm an adult now, I don't have to move around anymore. I fell in love with the city because not only does it have that Tejano culture, Chicano culture, there's also the international component to it that I really grew to like need in any city that I lived in. Everywhere we lived, like if it was a place that had lots of diversity, I was a happy kid.
You open in April, and it seems like you're already doing so much.
Yeah, I think that's the part about starting small and having to grind so hard, is you appreciate the brick and mortar once you have it, and you remember how hard you worked to get here, and you want to keep that momentum going. I'm passionate about coffee. I'm passionate about serving the community, passionate about activism, and so the fact that I get to put all those things together and come to work every day, like this is my hobby. Like if I didn't own this space, I would still want to be a part of it somehow.
She's got good vibes. She also makes some really good coffee.
I mean, okay, the labeling and the packaging is one thing. Dolores Huerta, obviously, immigrant, rights worker, activist, but the coffee itself is delicious, and I just love that space that she's carved out for herself. If what you want doesn't exist, you
create it.
Yeah,
it's good stuff. Well, by the way, Las Perras, they are celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month with all kinds of events, including Mexican clay folk whistling, floral arranging, even a daytime coffee dance party. That sounds fun. We're going to have a list of these events on our website, HoustonLife.tv. And seriously, 10 out of 10 on the coffee.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right.
Good stuff.